welcome back to Learn Extra. I'm Liesl Leroux. I'm here until 10:30 to help you guys with your maths questions. 086 10 58 262 and helpdesk@learnextra.co.za. Now, I've got a question that was phoned through by a lady by the name of Precious. The question comes from September 2011, GDE paper 2, and it is question 11. Now, while we're getting Precious on the line, let's quickly have a look at what the question says. It's one of those questions, guys, that look more frightening than they really are. So, the area of an isosceles triangle, PQR, is defined by the following. F of x equal to p squared times sine x over 2. Right, then we are asked in the first question, if p is 10 millimeters, draw a sketch graph of f of x on a diagram sheet. Hello, Precious.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, and how are you?
I'm great. Where are you calling us from this morning?
I am calling from Rustenburg in the Northwest.
Oh, how wonderful. Now, Precious, you say you had a bit of problems with this particular question.
It was question 11.
Yes, I've got it over here. It's question 11. And they talk about the area of an isosceles triangle PQR.
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first question, Precious, says to us, if P is 10 millimeters, draw a sketch graph on the diagram sheet. So what do you think we're going to do?
I'm actually not sure because I don't understand how we're going to draw it.
Precious, what you need to see, this is us sneaky teachers again. All that we've done is we've taken a trig graph and we've jazzed it up a bit and made it look a bit harder. Now, they're telling us that P is 10. So I would say the first thing that we need to do is in the place of P, substitute 10. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And I think then it will be a little bit less of a mystery. So let's see. F of x is equal to 10 squared sine x over 2. Okay?
Yes.
Okay, then Precious, what is 10 squared?
10 squared is 100.
That's 100. And 100 divided by 2 is?
100 by 2 is 50.
It's 50, right?
Yes.
So, Precious, all that they are asking us to draw is the graph 50 sine x. Are you happy with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now I don't have the diagram sheet or whatever. But what we do know, and it's interesting. The equation of a triangle, or the equation to find the area of a triangle is half base times height, right? So they've just used, there's my half, so they've basically said a half, that's then base is P, and the height is sine x or whatever. Right. Anyway, we seem to have lost Precious, but no problem. She can watch on TV, or we'll try and get her back. And the rest of the question then asks us to draw the graph from 0 to 180 degrees. Now, what this is a trig graph. Okay, it's a sine graph with a change in amplitude. And the amplitude has changed to 50. Now, I am not going to mark all 50 increments on my y-axis. That's just too much trouble. But I'm going to say there that the maximum value is then 50. And because they only ask us to draw the graph from 0 to 180 degrees, I'm only going to be drawing this portion of the graph. Hi, Precious.
Hi, ma'am.
Sorry, we seem to have lost you there. So, Precious, we've got to draw the graph 50 sine x, that's all, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And that 50 in front, what does that influence on my graph? If I put a 2 in front of a sine graph, what changes on the sine graph?
If you put a 2 in front of the sine graph.
Yes, what would happen then? It'll change the amplitude of the graph to to 2, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now I've put a 50 in front of the sine x. It's going to change the amplitude to 50. Okay. But
Yes, ma'am.
Precious, don't sit there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way up to 50. You'll be here until Christmas. So just draw your sine graph and just say that the maximum value on the y-axis is 50. Okay? And the reason I've only drawn half a graph, because you know, Precious, the whole sine graph is much bigger than this, right?
Yes,
the whole sine graph will look like this. They only asked us to draw the graph from 0 to 180.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you're happy so far?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, now in the next question, and I'm sure you'll be able to do that. Oh, and by the way, they ask us to write down the coordinates which will yield a maximum area, and then you look for the maximum of your graph. And those coordinates, where the graph is at its highest, will be 90 degrees on the x-axis and 50 units on the y-axis. So just 90 degrees, 50. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now, let's have a look at 11.3. If P is now 5 millimeters instead of 10, draw a second graph on the same set of axes and show the change in area. So what are we going to do now, Precious?
We will substitute 5.
We're going to substitute 5 in. You are absolutely right. And when I substitute 5 into there, I get 5 squared, right, which is?
Yes. 25.
25 divided by 2, which is then 12 and a half, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So f of x is 12,5 sine x. Okay. And if I draw it on the same system of axes, let's say there, it's not a very tidy graph, that's 25, so let's say it's about here. Now my graph is going to look like that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And then finally, okay, and to show the change in the area, so you can see that if P is 5, the area underneath the graph represents the area of the triangle, even though it's not a triangle, it's just representative. So for the second one, my area will only be that green bit that's colored in. For the first one, it's the pink and the green, because it's everything below.
Oh,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Finally, question 11.4. Determine the ratio of the maximum area when P is 10 to the maximum area when P is 5.
5.
Okay. So when P is 10, that is 50, right? And when P is 5, we are dealing with 12 and a half. So it's a quarter. The height is a quarter of what it was before, because this area of the base remains the same. So 50 divided by 12 and a half, or 1 to 4. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Precious, I hope that helped. You feeling a bit better?
Yes,
now, guys, that was Precious phoning us from Rustenburg with a question also from the GDE paper. Remember, our telephone number 086 1058 262. We're going to take a quick break, and right after the break, I'll be back